Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the cold spell we do have that is taking over the British Isles at the moment. It looks likely we'll have about 5 to 7 days at least of very cold weather, very much below average for everyone, with widespread cold temperatures and the potential for snow pretty much anywhere. Now at the moment, over the next couple of days, we are just relying really on convection for all of that snow, little features that are pushing in that could give localized heavy snow, and we're seeing that a bit over Scotland at the moment. So we'll run through what the live radar is showing. We'll have a look at the weather warnings, we do have snow and ice warning. We'll have a look at the various precipitation charts at that convection over the course of the next few days. There could really be snow anywhere through areas of Scotland, maybe even into parts of central England, and there is a feature that could come into southern England perhaps through Sunday, where the UKV is showing potentially 5 centimetres for some. We'll also have a look at a little bit of the longer range as well, as there's potential for channel low features coming in next week. Huge uncertainty with it on their northern and southern extent. Some of these are tracking well north, some of them are tracking well south, and that will drastically change how long the cold spell lasts and how much snow we see next week. If it stays well to our south, we would continue to pull in an easterly wind in next week, and that would produce a lot of convection for the east coast, but it will hit and miss snow. If the low pressure system is just through the channel, then we'd see heavy snow in the southern half of the British Isles, and if the channel low is not a channel low and it pushes much further northwards, then we'd see milder air in the south and maybe more snow in northern areas. So we've got to decipher that with this low pressure system arriving in around 5 to 7 days time, and of course as that moves through, does the blocking last, and do we continue to see cold weather as we head towards the Christmas period? So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, after you start on the live radar, you can see those showers in parts of eastern Scotland and southern Scotland at the moment. You can see there is an increase in intensity and frequency of showers just here, and this is associated with a little feature that is going to be running down the northeast coast and potentially heading inland into northern England, Yorkshire, the Midlands over the course of this afternoon and the evening. Different models have different amounts of snow and precipitation making its way inland, but it could give a light covering overnight, tonight, or through this evening, depending on how much this stays intact. So again, it's one of these features where it's going to very much be a nowcast situation, but if you are in northern England through the Midlands, you could see snow this evening, you might not. You could just see a flurry, or you could see an hour or so of moderate snowfall with a centimetre or 2 of accumulation. So we'll just have to see. Elsewhere, a lot of these precipitation showers are pushing into the coasts. Far west, some of these are falling as rain right along the coast, but most are falling as snow as soon as you come inland. Even some of these showers have sneaked into East Anglia over the course of this morning, and have seen reports from Norwich of a centimetre or 2 from a couple of these heavier showers. But widely elsewhere, it's just a cold, frosty feel. And I'm recording this around 9:30 in the morning, so a couple hours earlier than normal, but you can see how those bitterly cold temperatures through the spine of the country, where we've avoided the cloud, with temperatures getting widely down to sort of -3 or 4, locally -5 to -7, and it's only going to stay this cold, if not get colder. I told you these widespread light blues were going to be taking over, and in the day they're not going to be getting much above freezing in many areas, staying very cold indeed. Now, if you do go to the weather warnings, you can see we have a continuation of all the warnings, of course. Now, I ran through these in detail in yesterday's video, so I won't run through them again. They haven't been updated, and they could be updated later today. So, of course, if you are watching this later in the day, make sure you do look at the Wet Office website, as they do sometimes update this around lunchtime. Perhaps they could put warnings in for the weekend. But have a look at the latest models, as we'll see in a minute. There still is a lot of uncertainty for the weekend, so they probably still would be speculative warnings instead of sort of warnings for specific areas, for specific events. Because, as I said, one of the models showing snow in the south, others not showing anything. So again, run through today briefly. Snow and ice across Scotland that leads into tomorrow. Ice warnings pretty much down the full North Sea coast. And then, of course, down Wales and the western coasts and parts of Northern Ireland as well. Again, ice warnings simply because Yes, these showers will be falling as snow in places, in most places really. They shouldn't be too intense and might give a slight covering here or there, but the issues will be where it freezes and provides slippery surfaces instead of widespread high accumulations. That's why these are ice warnings. And of course, the warnings continue into tomorrow with the widespread ice warning and the snow and ice warning for Scotland. Now, if you go over to the UKV now and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, now this is starting to get into next week, so start to have a look at that feature on the weekend for the south and potentially the Channel Low moving in next week as well. Now you can see all those showers heading into parts of Scotland at the moment. Now you can see that little feature across the North Sea coasts, heading inland through northern England, maybe Yorkshire, down into the Midlands for a time over the course of this evening, giving some snow inland. Again, we'll have to see exactly how it does develop, but here showing some heavy stuff in a few spaces, but quite hit and miss. So you can see quite a lot of cloud associated with it, which shows you that it is some sort of feature, but we'll have to see exactly what happens with that. Again, it's a nowcast situation. As we head through that, again, just showers mainly in Scotland and down coastal areas once again. And as we head into Saturday as well, widespread, into Friday afternoon, still widespread showers for coastal areas, maybe more coming inland for Irish Sea coasts, for parts of Liverpool, perhaps northern Wales, even into the Midlands as well, maybe towards Birmingham as well. As we head through Friday evening, again, it's going to be a very cold night. Showers veering in once again, especially for those Irish Sea coasts. The winds slightly veering more northwesterly, which is why those showers are there, and across the far southwest as well. And again, showers in Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and Scotland, but avoiding North Sea coasts a bit more. As we head through Saturday, again, loads of showers around, but again, the main issue will be the cold conditions. As we head through Sunday, you'll see dry conditions, a bit of more of a slack flow, but what happens is we see small systems spiralling from the east, one here for northeast England, and another for southern England, and watch that, it does pep up. And for a small area across the southeast or central southern England, we do see some heavy snowfall overnight Sunday into Monday. This could give 5 centimetres or so of snow, but again, it's very localised before petering away. As we head through Monday, you can start to see that weather front approaching from the southwest. Again, how far northwards it gets, I'll have to run this on another day or so, but you can see the easterly wind starts coming in and frequent snow showers are packing into the far east. So the change in wind direction will mean more coasts for eastern areas, more areas in the east will get snow. Coming in from a direct easterly, those snow showers will probably come further inland as well. So if you are in the eastern half of United Kingdom, you're more likely to see those frequent snow showers through early next week. But again, all eyes really are on middle of next week with the potential for this weather front bumping up from the south. Again, if we have a look at the upper air temperatures, you can see it's bitterly cold all the way till next Tuesday with the upper air temperatures. But you can see that slither of milder air in the southwest that could give that snowfall, give that moisture later next week. And if we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see this morning waking up to widely below freezing, and by this afternoon, temperatures rising not much above 1 or 2 degrees. Really quite cold indeed. And tonight, again, -3 to -7 potentially. And where that feature moves through overnight tonight, could lift those temperatures up by a degree or two with a bit more cloud. And then as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, widely once again only touching freezing. As we head into Friday night, into early hours of Saturday, once again, widely below freezing, -4 to -6 in the south. And again, into Saturday afternoon, widely only touching 1 or 2 degrees. And then into Sunday, widely below freezing once again. And into Sunday afternoon, we're seeing those temperatures touch perhaps still below freezing quite widely, -2 through the East Midlands there. Really cold for a daytime high. Look at that. You'd expect these temperatures overnight. These are daytime highs at 3 p.m. on the 11th of December, this Sunday, bitterly cold. And then as we head into Monday, freezing cold overnight, and again into Monday afternoon, widely touching on freezing, and then extremely cold once again through the early hours of Tuesday. So this cold is embedded by next week, and it just means whatever those weather fronts do, they're going to have a tough time breaking down the cold, and will likely, if they do position themselves correctly, dump a lot of snow in some areas. But as we'll see with some of the models in a minute, they are veering much further northwards and some are veering much further southwards. If you look at the arpege, just to run through the precipitation over the course of the next sort of 4 days or so, again, you can see a lot of those showers moving in at the moment. You see that little feature along the North Sea coast there, coming a little bit inland, but nothing too significant. Again, will be very much a nowcast situation. Beyond that, again, just showers continuing on the coast, especially for Irish coasts, for northern Wales and northwest England through tomorrow, and just a continuation of showers. As we head into the weekend, a few more features for the far southwest that could feature in and give some more precipitation. And as we head into Sunday, that is quite predominant down the far southwest. But then, through Sunday evening, we don't see that snow really at all in the far southeast, sort of staying all out into the channel, and instead just keeping the showers for further northwards along the coast. So interesting to see the arpege not having any of that snow in the far south. And again, this is only 3 or 4 days away, just showing you how difficult it is to forecast these small little systems in sort of the shorter range. Now, if you also have a look at the UK Met Global Run, again, this is slightly lower resolution to the UKV, but again, it's from the UK Met Office, and we'll just run through the precipitation for the next few days, and then, because it leads out to 7 days, we'll have to have a look at that channel low next week. Now, you can see, over the course of today, those showers moving in from north east coasts, giving a bit of precipitation and snow for this evening across northern England, but again, not coming too far inland and sort of petering away, really. And then as we head through Friday, again, those showers for Irish Sea coasts and generally coastal areas. And then as we head into the weekend, more of those showers spiralling in at times, and potentially for the Midlands, a bit of snow there appearing. And through Sunday evening, you'd think that snow would arrive from the far southeast, and a little bit does, but not going too far inland and staying a bit more offshore. And then as we head into the middle of next week, snow showers packing in from the east, and then we see that weather front arrive from the south, give a bit of snow for southwest England, but the main bulk of that snow goes into France, and we avoid that heavy snowfall by about 50 to 100 miles. Again, just one scenario, but this really much avoiding that heavier precipitation. So I'll have to see exactly how it does play out. If you look at the GFS now, run through the longer range, we'll go through this quite quickly, so I don't want the video to drag too long. And you can see the northerly wind pushing in at the moment, bitty cold air embedding itself over the top of us. And you can see that slow, the flow does slacken quite a bit towards this weekend before that low pressure system arrives, and you can see it stays to our south but tries to push its weather fronts in, and eventually in the longer term we see higher pressure build in, and again a fight between milder westerlies and the higher pressure over the top of us. This would be one of those scenarios where it wouldn't be snowy at all, but wherever we see clearer skies and higher pressure staying in control, we'd see a bit of an inversion, and you couldn't even rule out for the Christmas period a bit of an easterly wind that could turn us colder once again. Any snow though would be very limited, as the upper air temperatures are generally mild. It would just be an inversion towards the surface. So GFS has that cold spell. The coldest spell at the moment breaking away quite rapidly by around 8 days time by next Friday. So we'll have to see exactly what happens with that. But that channel low next week again mainly stays to our south. Could introduce some snow for the far southwest through Wednesday, Thursday next week before degrading away. So again, have to keep an eye. 7 days lead time, not normally too long for the general macroscopic sort of scale, but for these little micro features that could give snow 100 miles further northwards or southwards, we'll have to wait till maybe 2 or 3 days out, if that at all. Sometimes it's only a day out, really. If we have a look at the GEM, again, a northerly wind pushing in at the moment, very cold air establishing itself, low pressure running in but getting shoved to our south. We're going to quite a cold pattern there all the way to next Sunday, with easterly winds coming in and very cold air generally in place. And again, you can see that dividing line through northern France for the milder and colder air, and that would be where the weather front is stationed. But this would be a very cold pattern with high pressure building in. Huge inversion taking place in very cold air towards the surface, will likely be below freezing in the day, and overnight maybe -10 in quite a few places. So that will be extremely cold, but not quite as snowy, really. So we have to see how that does play out. And if we're running the ECMWF, northerly wind coming in at the moment, establishing the cold low pressure over the top of us. Weather fronts bump in, and actually this is quite a snowy pattern with reinforcements of cold lower pressure from the north, where that collides through central England perhaps, or eastern England. Could be a lot of snow involved with that. And right towards day 10, battleground between northerly winds and southerly winds here, and where that line develops, if this low gets shoved back away, again this could produce significant snow. So you can see from all three of the main models, they're all producing cold weather until around day 8, day 10, but it's how it breaks down and how much low pressure pushes in, and whether it's sort of a channel low pressure, so bumping into the cold air sort of scenario, or whether it's just a general very quick transition to milder conditions like the GFS was showing around that day 9, day 10 time frame. So we'll have to see, of course. Now, if you look at the ensemble members, you can see why we've got a lot of uncertainty in the longer term. You can see very cold for the next generally sort of 7, 8, 9 days, and then we've got rising upper air temperatures around the 18th, 19th of December, but a huge spread, some saying very cold, some going very mild. So I do suspect we'll stay cold for at least another week, very cold in fact for another week, for slowly we could trend milder, more milder in the south than the north, but it could be, but that could mean there's more snow around, so we'll have to see how that does develop. But both the control and operational run from the GFS go milder around that 18th of December point. Again, look at the 2 metre temperatures, very cold, pretty much around 1 or 2 degrees all the way to next Friday, maybe even next Saturday for most of the ensemble members, and still many for next Sunday or Monday, but many more milder outliers. And you look at the new snow that spikes, quite a few snow that spikes appearing for that feature on Sunday to Monday, and elsewhere a lot of smaller spikes showing convection. So you've got to keep an eye on Sunday to Monday in the south. Some of these very significant snow spikes, but maybe only about really a fifth of the ensemble members. And if you have a look at the dew points as well, you can see it is very cold. And if we do finish by just having a look at the ECMWF ensemble members, again very cold all the way down out to the 18th. Slight blip there around the 14th to 16th in the middle of the week, but that could be accompanied by more precipitation and maybe heavier snow. Maybe not quite in the London area with the upper air temperatures spiking more towards freezing, but perhaps slightly further northwards, the Midlands, Northern England could see some heavy snow with this, for generally upper air temperatures widely rise around the 18th, 19th, 20th. The one thing I do want to say with this is that the breakdown of the cold weather keeps getting pushed back. 3 or 4 days ago, it was sort of the 13th, 14th, now it's the 19th, 20th. So could it get pushed all the way back to Christmas? It will be unlikely, just because that means the cold spell would have lasted for 2 weeks or so. But it is possible, and we'll just have to see. It's one of these scenarios where the blocking just keeps holding off. So yes, very cold the next week. There will be snow around at times, potentially significant snow in localised areas over the course of the next 5 days. And as we head into next week, there's the potential for widespread significant snow when that milder air tries to bump into the colder air. And wherever that division happens, wherever that collision happens, that's where we'll see the heaviest snow, whether it's southern England, the Midlands, northern England, or potentially into the north of France. Somewhere there, we'll probably see some very heavy snow next week, and we'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.